What's up, guys? As I said, I am back yet with another video. This time we're going to be talking about the DC streaming service series, which is called Doom Patrol, ladies and gentlemen. This picture that you see right in front of you, as I said, is a DC Universe streaming service kind of series. Now, with that being said, it only airs on the streaming service, so that's where you can catch the live airings of the show, if you're a member. Now, I don't actually have the membership, but I have found a movie website in which they do air the episodes, but it won't be the same time as, they will air on the streaming service. So I was able to binge watch episodes 1 through 8, and it took me about a day and a half's time. Not too long to catch up on it, but with all the noise and stuff that is here, in my own home, sometimes it is hard to watch an episode and pretty much focus on it. But I'm going to tell you basically what I thought of the series so far. Now, I am aware that episode 9 has, aired, but I haven't yet watched it. So please do not spoil it for me in the comment section. But if you are new to this channel, and you're new to this kind of reviews of shows and stuff like that, I typically issue a spoiler warning. So I'm going to do that right now for you guys. If you're not yet caught up with the series, meaning you didn't watch any of the episodes, stop this video right now, because I'm going to talk about everything that I seen with my own eyes and give you just, some very much insight on what was happening during these episodes and, some opinions on what I want to see further on in future episodes. So with that being said, your spoiler warning has been issued. If you haven't stopped the video, that means you're staying, you want to hear this. But make sure you are subscribed to my channel. Make sure you smash that like button at the end of this video. And make sure you share the channel with friends and family members and anybody that you possibly know that watches YouTube, and have an interest in these kind of videos. Because the more subscribers I have, the more videos I can put out for you guys. And make sure to keep hitting me up, in my social media platforms for more topics and more videos for me to discuss for you guys, because I am trying to, survey around and give out all the videos that I possibly can for everyone. So with that being said, let's get into it. Now, Doom Patrol. I had my second doubts about this show, and I was completely wrong. Because first off, I was angry at the fact that this was only going to be available on the DC streaming service, and it wasn't part of like one of those Hourverse shows. It wasn't going to be appearing on the CW or appearing on Fox, or like CBS and stuff like that, anything that's on TV. So that for one was one reason why I was angry, and then two was the fact that I didn't know anything about Doom Patrol, meaning I didn't know anything about any of the characters except for Cyborg and Beast Boy. Now, Cyborg and Beast Boy, they're characters of the Teen Titans, and Cyborg, he varies because he'll be with the Titans and then he'll be with Justice League. He's just that cool like that, But as far as the other supporting cast members of the Doom Patrol, I had no knowledge of them, so this is why, I second guessed the show. I wasn't sure what it was going to be about. But then, as I said, I was completely wrong. This happens to be one of my favorite shows, along with my other favorite shows from the Arrowverse on the CW. But this happens to be one of my favorite DC shows because everything that I'm watching, it kind of relates, or brings me back to other existing DC shows. Now, Doom Patrol, when you look at them, they're like an adult version of the Legends. Now, you guys probably are going to say, why would I say that, But if you very much watch the Legends of Tomorrow show, it's kind of the same situation where you had one guy come in and, they recruit these members of like misfits, people that stuck out in the Arrowverse or the DC universe, and the difference with the Legends is, they were brought together for a reason to help Rip Hunter, and kind of like change the timelines and stuff like that. But the situation with the Legends is those characters were a bunch of useless characters from our main shows, such as like The Flash and Arrow, and Supergirl. Well, during the time, it was just, Flash and Arrow. These were characters from both series that were pretty much, not given enough story development. So the Legends, was a story that was going to, give these superheroes a proper meaning for life, So as I said, they originated from Flash and Arrow, and then they were brought together on this Legends show. Now, as I said, Doom Patrol reminds me of that because you here have the Chief who brings together this, unfit team to, be superheroes and save mankind and stuff like that. So that is one reference. And then my other reference is pretty much Marvel related. This kind of reminds me of an X-Men situation in which the Chief, which is this guy here in the wheelchair, he reminds me of Professor X. Now, of course, these guys will be the X-Men, the mutants that he brings in and takes care of. And this is what the Chief is doing. He's housing these superpowered freaks and, giving them a purpose, teaching them about their abilities and, teaching them to work together as a team and, using them to better the world around them. He's not just using them as guinea pigs and stuff like that. So that's another reference. Then it kind of reminds me of, the Runaways or what's the other one I was going to mention? Stranger Things and stuff like that as well, because they tend to deal with stranger things. And a stranger thing happened to be Mr. Nobody and this whole universe that existed up the rare alley of a goat, But yeah, that's like part of the Stranger Things. And they're Stranger Things as well, as because of their powers. But anyway, enough about the references because you guys get where I was going with it. The whole team coming together, one person, being the glue to the group. And speaking of the glue, this glue wasn't very much just the Chief alone. Now, this second part of the glue happened to be with Cyborg. Now, I do realize that he came on into, the team, like, preferably about the third episode in, where he teamed along with them to, handle a situation. And then, with their connections and everything like that, he stuck by them because he wanted to look for Niles, which is the Chief. Now, as I said, for me personally, in my opinion, I feel like he was the glue for the group because without him, they managed on their own, but it was a rocky situation, you had Cliff and Jane, bumping heads every once in a while, Rita being Rita and Larry was just being Larry, everyone was coexisting together, but not, working together as a team. So when Cyborg came on, he's like trying to form this team and they just don't want it to happen, and then they keep throwing out the reference that, we're not your team, we're not like the Justice League, this, that, and the third. Now, speaking of that whole Justice League situation, this is one reason why Cyborg is amongst one of my characters, and I only have 3 favorite characters, but this is one of the reasons why he is one of them. The fact that he is well established in this series, I love it. It's not like they have to create a story, they have to do this whole origin. No, he's just there, he's visiting because, the Justice League is off doing other manners and he's, tending to this kind of manner, because it's more of a personal situation because Niles, helped him back in the day, as you see when they had that whole flashback scene and stuff like that. So that's the connection with Niles and Cyborg. But as I said, the fact that he is already established, it makes it so much cooler because you don't have to complicate a story for him, give him a reason for coming to join Doom Patrol when he is already a well established hero. And the team is well aware of that, They throw out these, Justice League member names, they throw out Superman and they mentioned Batman, but apparently he hasn't yet met Batman or something like that. I don't know what the situation behind that is. It's kind of weird because Batman is like solely responsible for bringing this kind of team together, as far as the Justice League goes. But this is, a different series. It could be a different universe entirely, so we don't know exactly what the whole situation is. Let me just put this on a charger. Sorry about the noise and hate the fact that this thing is always constantly dying. All right, now that I have it on the charger, I can get back into what I was saying. Now, as I said, I like the fact that he's well established. There's no complications to his story. It's very simple, and I do like the fact that his father is very much still alive and, a part of his life, whether if he wants him, peeping through every now and then or not, his father still exists and still wants to be a part of his life, which is a good thing, and that's, a little lesson in itself because a lot of people, have situations in real life with, their parents, such as like fathers being non-existent and, mothers doing what mothers do and that kind of situation. He's not fully a man yet, but he is, he's becoming a man. And this is, kind of like his journey into being the hero that he already is. It's kind of like if he's trying to prove himself, although he keeps saying, I'm not trying to prove myself to nobody. I don't have anything to prove. But he kind of does, because it's how he represents himself. If that makes sense to you guys, with him being the hero that he is, could his leadership roles rub off on them and form a better team than what they have, and could his experience be, transferred into the Justice League, loosening up them as well, with Batman being so tense and, so dark and mysterious. Can he open up, to the team? Can he be more of a team player instead of like, the lone wolf? Okay. Then my second favorite character would be Robot Man, because Robot Man is he's so unfiltered, and I just love that about him. He is who he is. He doesn't sugarcoat anything, and he is well aware of the fact that he is no longer a man. He is a robot. He is full on 99.9% robot, and the rest of the organs that live in him are just his brain. There is no more parts of him left, so he understands that, and as I said, he's very unfiltered, very adulterated kind of character. He's an adulterated kind of character because he constantly just curses, and he just the way he goes about life is pretty funny. And just one thing, I was always a fan of Brendan Fraser back in the day, so just to hear him back, doing voice acting again is surreal for me. Is pretty awesome, and I love that he's voicing Robot Man. And he's doing one heck of a job. He's pretty convincing as the Robot Man. And then my third favorite character is Jane. Now, Jane is also unfiltered, just like Robot Man. They speak their mind, they say what they need to say, they do whatever the hell they need to do. Now, there is another reason for Jane being my favorite, is because of the 64 personalities that she has. And the one thing that I never knew about this character, coming into the show, even though they explained it for me, which was pretty cool, but the fact that she does have 64 personalities and each personality has their own personal superpower.
So that is awesome. Like she's like literally an unstoppable force. To have 64 personalities and they all each come with their own power. So just imagine, for a second, you just always wanted to be a superhero or something and you could think of any power that you could possibly have. That is what the situation is with Jane. So imagine, you want fire based powers. She has that. You want ice or water or something like that. She can possibly have one of those too. She has lightning based powers, teleportation, and those are some of the great powers that I have seen so far from her. And there's possibly more because she has said, each of her personalities comes with its own superpower. So that is just amazing. But like I said, she is a badass physically and literally. She's tough as nails. She's not taking any crap from anyone. And I just love the fact that, she transitions between personalities from time to time, and that's just something that I've been favoring as of lately. As you guys can see when I talked about in my Glass movie review the other day, with James McAvoy playing Kevin and playing the Beast and also playing 24 personalities, that is something I love to see characters do, and those are kind of performances that you got to give someone an Oscar or some sort of award for because that is amazing for them to transition to play different characters, with all these voices and everything like that. It's just so dope to me, And those are my three favorite characters: Cyborg, Robot Man, and Jane. Now, Rita, I don't like her. I feel like she don't even belong with the team because she, for one, feels like she's better than everyone. But let me tell you something about her. I did not know she was Elastigirl. I did not know that because the way they depicted her powers in this series, it was really weird and disgusting. It just felt like she was a blob instead of a person that is able to stretch beyond the normal abilities of a person. It's just like every time when they show her, her face is like deteriorating. Her leg is also doing the deterioration, and it's just disgusting the way it looks. It's just like real nasty. It's like applesauce and mashed potatoes mixed together. That's what her power looks like to me when I see it. But we did have one particular episode where her powers were actually manifested the right way. She was able to stretch her arm and hold someone back up by, against the wall. But the fact that she just stretched her arm just normally, I was like, okay, now they're getting somewhere with this character. But the whole blob and nasty situation was ill, disgusting. Didn't want to see it. And then you have Larry, the mummified person, with his whole wrappings around his face and these weird ass, Cyclops wannabe goggles on his face. That's who he kind of reminds me of as well, because, he very much was a fighter, a flight pilot kind of person. And he was, doing this test engine on a space plane, I believe a rocket plane they mentioned it was. But the whole situation where it went down, and this cosmic energy kind of infused with Larry's body, causing him to appear as, like a monster. Now that situation also reminded me of how Deadpool looked the first time when he came out, such as like avocado of some sorts, which is the reference that they said back in Deadpool. But it was kind of resemblance. The two characters looked alike, where their skin was just disgusting to look at, and they had to put on this mask to cover up because they didn't like the way their appearance looked, and they didn't want people judging them. So Larry walks around in broad daylight with this stuff all over him, and excuse me, and then he has yet to, conquer his metagene. Now, his cosmic energy is able to resort, out of his body on its own will, and can very much become its own person. And it's kind of like a split personality at times, if you want to say that. Um, I have yet to know what his powers are actually based off of, but I just do see that energy shoots out of him from time to time and it causes him to black out. And then once the energy jumps back into him, he regains consciousness. So it's not much to really go off of with Larry, but his backstory was pretty interesting. Now, he has done something, unspeakable during this kind of time period that they're in. He's had a wife, and children, a family situation, but he has also had this secret, which his secret was he was bisexual. You know, he enjoyed sex from a man at times, and he still came home to his wife and had sex with his wife. But then, the situation with the man at work gotten more serious, to where they're possibly taking the next step in their relationship. They're expressing their love for each other and possibly wanting to live together, this kind of situation, blah, 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 run away into the sunset. But Larry's like, he has this whole family and this whole other life, that revolves around him and it doesn't revolve around, my side piece, you know? But that was the whole situation. I'm not very judgmental on, whether you're gay, lesbian, bi, whatever the situation may be, you know, I just didn't feel like this story was essential, as far as, the development of this team. I feel like they didn't need to mention that part of his life. They could have just kept it at the whole pilot situation and investigating the plane and, where the military came in is did their all science experiments and stuff like that. And that's something else I want to talk about as well because that was fairly interesting. Now, they were putting him in situations of like deep freeze and like overheating. Now they pretty much cooked his ass alive, and he was still intact. He didn't die from like overheating and possibly catching on fire. And then the deep freeze where he was like frozen, but he was still powerful. And it was pretty cool to see them use him as like a little test dummy, little lab rat, if you will, for a brief moment. Um, but as I said, it's those two characters, Larry and Rita. I didn't really like them. It's not much to talk about with them. Now the whole Mister Nobody situation goes back with Niles. Niles is a man with many secrets. And there's things that he hasn't told the team for certain reasons. I guess we'll find out maybe later on in the series or not. But it's definitely his option. If he wants to tell a team about his past, but as a typical superhero story goes, your past always comes back to haunt you, and this happens to be his past. Mr. Nobody was, created, and now he's back to torture Niles and the Doom Patrol. And Niles, with him creating this whole Doom Patrol, as I said, he was, giving them a purpose at life, with the fact that they're superheroes, or superpowered freaks that no one pretty much understands how they came across these powers and stuff like that. He's helping them, with that kind of situation, how to keep it together and basically form this team and, stop Mr. Nobody and save the world, regardless if the world wants to be saved or not. They are well aware that the Justice League does exist, but the Justice League can't be everywhere all the time. So that is the thought of this team. Um, but yeah, Mr. Nobody causes, havoc with opening up these like black holes in the middle of the city. And he takes Niles, and it's up to the team to figure out where he has taken him, when he has taken him. It hasn't been really specified, if it was like a time travel situation or it was just, he took him into a ultimate dimension or another universe, whatever the situation is. Now, they are, aided by Cyborg because Cyborg has this personal connection with Niles. and he wants to help out, with the team, regardless if they want his help or not. The team bumps heads with Cyborg from time to time, and he just, he's still managing to put up with their crap. Aside from getting to know them, he just knows that they have potential to be a team, but he has to be the one to form them into that team. And that's where he comes in as the glue, as I said, for the group. Um, what else can I say? We get a lot of little backstories with Jane, situation, Robot Man situation. We get backstories from Rita as well, and as Larry. Not much from Niles. Niles is still kept secret, but we started to get portions of it as they start to expose this truth behind everything. And I think that is Mr. Nobody's purpose, for him to, expose Niles for the person that he is, because everybody on the team just sees him as, the good guy, but Mr. Nobody also wants to show the dark sides of Niles, and that's probably the purpose of him taking Niles and the team going through what they have to go through. We also get Danny the Street. Now, that was something I did not know of, but I do want to say that reference, Danny the Street, kind of reminded me of the same situation in Shadowhunters. Now, as I said, in my Shadowhunters review, that Jonathan, excuse me, I was about to say Valentine, but Jonathan, Clary's brother, demonic brother or whatever, once they came back from the whole, uh, possible death situation, they were in this house that allows them to teleport anywhere they want to go in the world. So, as you can see, the connection, the house was able to just move itself and jump basically anywhere I wanted to go. So that is what Danny the Street is in Doom Patrol. It's literally a street, like a stretch of street with like different establishments, but it's a street where it protects its its customers, basically. The people that come to these clubs and stores and stuff like that. It protects them, from outsiders in the world, people that want to harm and hurt them. And in Danny Street, you can be anybody you want to be. You can be free, and that was the whole situation, where they had like transgender and like queer characters. Um, and as I said, it was a pretty decent thing, because that is something that in our world today we have to, live with the fact that people are going to be who they are, so you can't be judgmental, and that was kind of like the little situation that I got from there as well. I'm not sure if that was their intentions, but the fact that they had that in this episode was pretty powerful, and that's something that they're starting to put in all of these shows now. We're not neglecting, anybody from the LGBT, culture. So slowly we're getting like transgender superheroes now, in which we have one on Supergirl. We had like in Shadowhunters, we have Alec and Magnus, a couple boy on boy situation, and as I said, I'm starting to like the fact that they're putting this in shows now, because, there is an importance behind it. We have to understand that people are who they are. You can't judge them for the skin color or for what they like or who they like. So that was something powerful from this episode and from other series around the world that is currently airing and stuff like that. And I love the involvement that they get to have in these shows now. You know, um, but as I say, Danny the Street was responsible for all its people and stuff like that, and the power that it had was able to jump. The ability to jump places and just literally pick up and leave, and go anywhere they want to be. So Danny Street can exist anywhere. So, for example, me currently being in, the state of Connecticut right now, Danny the Street could come here, and then he could just very much tomorrow be in LA or be in Paris, be anywhere. That's the power that it has, and it's pretty cool. Um, and Danny the Street also has like these secrets about Niles, but he won't express the secrets about him. That is something that the team has to figure out on their own. As I said, they still have Cyborg's help. He hasn't went home yet. And speaking of Cyborg, he has had this little like tension between him and his father. As I said, it's nothing too serious because I like the fact that he can rely on his father. It's just his father's pretty much overbearing. He's always snooping in, like listening into conversations and seeing what he sees because Cyborg's connected with other satellites and stuff like that, and he has all these upload connections and blah blah blah. You get the whole situation. So his father is able to see everything that he sees and kind of hear whatever he hears from time to time, and he just wants a little privacy. He wants to be trusted in this kind of situation. Regardless if he was sent by the league or not. And as I said, they had these little confrontations here and there, but it's nothing too, like, oh, I hate his father. We understand his situation, and it's pretty cool. As I said, his character's already established. His father is still alive, so there isn't anything to complicate with their connection and that situation. Excuse me. And yeah, that pretty much sums up everything that I can possibly get from this series. As I said, it is amazing, to watch, and I suggest that you guys watch it as well. Um, Now, there could be other characters that are coming, within the future episodes. Who knows who might show up? Maybe more Justice League members could show up. you know, they did have the old existing members of Doom Patrol show up on there in a episode, so that was cool to see them. But then they showed the real reality of them basically, and they're all old and non superhero anymore. So situations can change, and as I said, there could be a possibility that some characters could be on the way. Some more characters, who knows? They might get a new member in the group. Maybe Beast Boy might appear. Maybe Superboy might appear or something. Who knows? But as I said, this is available on the DC streaming service. Now, if you're not a member of the DC streaming service, you can go to 5movies.io, I believe, is the website. That's where I stream these episodes from. But basically, any like movie platform that you go to watch movies freely online, they do have an option in which you can watch TV shows and stuff like that. So you no longer have to miss out on shows or wait to the end of the week to catch up. You can catch up within like at least 2 days time. So I will be able to watch episode 9, preferably tonight. I'm going to check. Hopefully the episode is up there, and then I will be able to watch episode 9, and then I will be able to make a video about episode 9 alone. But this one just happened to be, just a pretty big mashup of episodes 1 through 8 without me actually breaking down every episode piece by piece, because with this show, it's a lot to go over, and my memory isn't as great, so that's why I didn't break down each and every episode. I gave you pieces of what happened and just and some insight on the characters and who was my favorite and yada yada yada. But as I say, there is a lot of interesting origins, like little backstories that this show has to pretty much display. Now, Jane's backstory is going to be one for the ages and for you guys to remember. So, just make sure you pay attention. And if you have any more insights and stuff that I might have missed or I might have not said, that's what the comment section is for. Please do not write anything about episode 9. I'm going to watch it, and then I'm going to give you my review, and that's where we can talk about episode 9 in the next video, not this one, ladies and gentlemen. As I said, if I missed anything from 1 through 8 episodes, 1 through 8, write it down in the comment section. You know, if you have any other information about the Doom Patrol that, you know, I basically don't know about, put that in the comment section as well. I love to be educated by you guys. With that being said, I'm going to end this video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure your post notifications are turned on. Make sure to smash the like button at the end of this video and to share my channel with any of your friends and family members. The more subscribers I have, the more videos I can put out. With that being said, I catch you guys in the next one. Peace.